Hi, it's Pete, Mindwiseman's channel, aka Maverick Outdoors, and today is Friday the 4th of December. It's about coming up to about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, and I'm at the Camp Shaky annual Christmas meet event at Broadstone Fisheries Estate. They've got a bit of a site here that the group have been using for a while to do some camp gatherings with groups of people, like-minded people, bushcrafters, preppers, survivalists, all types of outdoors enthusiasts, and it's their Christmas gathering, and we're all pitched up at the Broadstone Fisheries in Staunton, which is just on the, I suppose, the southern boundaries of the Forest of Dean. Actually, as far as looking at a map, and where I'm actually pitched here in my tent with the tarp as a canopy porch over the front door, I'm actually in Wales, because I can actually walk about another, I don't know, 10 yards and I'll be back in England again. So I'm inside my Slummit Gobi 3 tent, flash frame tent that just pops up, just pull the frame into position, and it's erected within about sort of a minute. But it was a bit of a mission trying to put the tarp over, but all the guys came over to say hello, and while I was putting up the tent and then getting the tarp, a lot of the guys were chipping in to give me a hand, holding on to the guy ropes and the bungee cords to get the actual tarp in situ. So I've got more of an extended porch, so it's a little bit more practical. As you can see, just outside the arch of the doorway of the tent is the tarp, and then the vertical pole keeping up the sort of A shape. But it'll be easier to see tomorrow when I actually show you around the pitch and the actual site in daylight. But all the guys have been really accommodating. As soon as I arrived, I was putting up the tent, the wind was blowing, the tarp was flapping around all over the place, so the guys were getting on the corners helping me put it in situ and to make the fixings. And then someone came over and said, you know, was I cold? Right, I'll go and get you a cup of hot chocolate, which I had, which was really great. Even came in a major chocolate manufacturer's cup and beaker top to drink out of, so that was a real welcome. So that was really appreciated, and it came with a mince pie as well. So I put that down my throat, and that get me some warm calories to keep me going. So once I'd set up, all within sort of an hour or so, I was getting a bit more hungry, so I had the old outdoors enthusiasts MRE obligatory pasty, chicken and bacon pasty, and then down some dandelion and burdock. Now that is a glass bottle, and normally outdoors I wouldn't actually be taking any glass or anything that could actually break, but my car, I can just see, is outside the porch, so I thought, well, a bit of not really wild camping, but a glamping if anything. So I've got all the mod cons, so if I want anything, I've even brought stuff I know that I'm not going to actually use, but I thought, well, why not? I've got the boot of the car, which is just a walking pace just outside my tent, so I thought I'd just bring some stuff, so if I did want it, change of clothes, I can just do it really easily. So I've got about nearly 10 litres of water there in the water canteen. I've got my 2-burner stove, Coleman 2-burner stove. There's my larder over there, but I'll expose some of the food later on tomorrow. And some kit bags, dry bag. I didn't bring a rucksack. The only rucksack I actually brought was what I think of as my food transit rucksack, with a few sort of sundries in the side pouches, but all my clothes and sleep kit in the dry bag. And on the other side of where I'm sitting is a little container with my saucepan and kettle and my sleep kit. But as I say, I'll expand all on this more when it's easier to see daylight tomorrow. There's about, I think, up to nearly 100 people here this evening for the weekend. So we're here tonight, Friday the 4th, we're here during the day Saturday. The weather is predicted to be pretty inclement. It's going to be windy and rainy. Apparently it was very windy last night. Some of the guys arrived here early last night and pitched up, and one of the communal gazebos meeting point actually broke because of the force of the wind, so we're all hoping it might hold off tonight and not be too bad. But you know, that's it, you're outdoors, no such thing as bad weather, just bad wrong kit and bad wrong clothing. Okay, as you can see, I've now set up my 2-burner stove. Real nice bit of glamping kit this is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil up some water and then just do one of those easy snack type noodly soups. Normally you'd boil up some water, empty the packet of ingredients into a mug and then just pour it in and leave it for 5 minutes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil up the water and then actually put that in, and then also add some tomato sauce American style squid rings. So it's going to be a sweet and sour noodly squid ring tomato American style yumminess soup to get the old calories down my throat and get that old body warmed up. And you can see now what I've done is I've actually put the RAV power torch lantern hanging from the opening of the porch in my working area, which is now my kitchen. Compared to many other places, you can see there's a little loop there in each corner of the tent and also one in the centre. So you're not just limited to one place where you can actually hang any lighting bit of kit actually in this Slummet Gobi 3 tent. So anyway, let's get this food on the go. I just love this Coleman dual fuel 2-burner stove. It's just so convenient. It's not just to make things easier. I mean, I like a campfire, I like little butane gas stoves, hexi stoves, but it just makes this so much more convenient and practical, efficient, time-saving, and actually to be outdoors using something like this. Got that boiling in no time. Tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to get a move on, do a walkabout and go to the part of the communal meeting tent and see who's around and just go and chew the cud and see what's been going on. Good morning. It's now Saturday about 8:30 and got back to my pitch, my tent about just after midnight last night after tallying up with a lot of the guys. By about late evening, about 90 people had arrived to attend this event, and tallied up with a lot of people that I've actually met before at Church Farm, Ardley, when we did the big meet up there, and some of those people are here today as well. And also other people with YouTube channels, people that have been following my channel, some people I've met before, some people I was lucky enough to meet for the first time. A chance to catch up with people and have a good old chinwag discussing about outdoor activities and just having a nice bit of a social time. We were lucky that the rain held off last night. It was a bit blustery and windy. We might have had a bit of a light shower, very, very light for about 10-15 minutes. But I think because the pressure was high and the wind was blowing over, lucky enough it blew over the cloud and the sky wasn't that clear. The odd star constellation here and there where the cloud cleared, but as I say, it was a dry night but a bit cold and blustery wind. So when I was out and about, I had my waterproof jacket over the top of this fleece and actually what I'm wearing now, and all I've got is a t-shirt underneath here, so it's just t-shirt, this fleece. I've been my layer system, waterproof jacket last night, and that virtually sort of kept me warm. But lucky enough, being in one of the two communal shelters, one which had a washing machine drum used as a fire pit, so that was nice and warm inside one of the canopies. and there was another little shelter which housed the tea making equipment, where one of the guys was actually continually making cups of tea. So it was really nice, keeping hydrated and warm with a nice brew here and there during the chats and socialising last night. There is prospect today. A guy who's an arborist tree surgeon is going to take some people out to the woods, part of the lower southern boundary edge of Forest of Dean, and I think he's done a recce out there before, and he's going to take a group of people, whoever wants to go with him, to do a bit of tree identification and just having a look round. There's lots of wild boar and deer in part of the Forest of Dean, which is just over the road from where all of us are pitched up. And any of us that do venture out for a little walk into the woods, which has actually got a bit of a high peak as well, which on a clear day, if we're lucky enough, we'll be able to see the Black Mountains and parts of Brecon Beacons from the high pitch, which is over that way, and Brecon Beacons is sort of that direction. But I think once I get the day on the go, I'm going to take off my fleece, and I've got a German Army issue Parker line, which is sort of quilted and padded, which I think I'll use to take the place of this fleece, because I'm going to actually be much warmer if I'm going to be in more in an exposed environment, which is going to be a colder and much more windy. Just like then. The wind kicked into the top of the tent and the tarp shelter just then. So I slept in my normal day clothes that I was wearing last night, obviously without the waterproof jacket, and my basic 3-season sleeping bags. Nothing super thermal, but it does the job. And my washed out NBC trousers, which I've had for 7-8 years. Light, windproof, really thermal, nice big bellows pockets to put bits of kit in, items, besides what I actually had on my utility belt that I was wearing all last night with a torch, multi-tool, that sort of thing. Waterproof trousers, so if I did get caught out in the rain I could actually just don them over my trousers to keep myself dry. I have explained about these NBC trousers before, part of the NBC suit, but normally that's got a charcoal lining which is part of the protective barrier of obviously the materials, and this is sort of very lightweight. So because it's 2 layers, this one the green you can see, and this surface here which has got a little bit fluffy, from when I first had them I actually tried to wash them by hand to get rid of the charcoal, and over the sort of months, and then I suppose over the first year, there's no charcoal left in it at all, so it's great. So it's 2 layers, lightweight, they dry really easily, and they're really comfortable. If I do need more of a thermal layer on my legs, then I've got some sort of long john thermal leggings that I can actually don underneath these trousers, so that won't be a problem. So at my head end, inflatable pillow, which was resting on a small dry bag which has got a pair of trainers in it, and my little body warmer, so that was utilised as a pillow with that on top. But you notice I've got a 3-layer system for the floor mat. Here's some old cellular sponge which was actually inside an old armchair that I actually took apart, and the chair was sort of broken and damaged, so I just thought, oh, I'll salvage this sponge. I don't know whether I'll use it for something, or maybe make a sort of a quadruple folded over seat pad or something, and so I just left it in my garage. So I've got 2 pieces like this, and when I was actually getting my shelter kit tent ready to put in the car before leaving, SpongeBob was calling me from the top of one of my shelves. And I thought, I know what, because I know I'm going to be parking my car right next to the tent, because we're able to do that with the pitches on this site, I thought, you know, I'm going to use that as an extra layer. So I've got 2 pieces this size, one here and then one under here, then put the cellular mat on top, and then put the inflatable mat on top. So that was a 3-layer system which was really nice and comfortable on the hard ground. And you will know if you've seen my other videos that I don't mind roughing it just straight on top of an inflatable mattress on a ground sheet. But I thought, well, I can actually bring some kit, even I brought some stuff that I know probably I won't use, but that's the beauty of actually having the car parked right next to the tent, where I didn't have to rucksack everything and then have to trek into a field or woods at a long distance. So as I say, my car's just basically 2-3 foot away from the front of my tent. But I did have this rucksack, which was really convenient and practical use to bring sundry items in the side pouches, but then in the centre was all my food stuff. And then of course my dry bag here with any other stuff, clothing. So all I had to do was pick it up by the clip handles that seal it, take it out of the boot of the car. So everything else that wasn't hardware, i.e. clothing, sleep kit and everything, was in this 100-litre dry bag. So did the job, spot on. So from late arrival yesterday afternoon, I was basically having little snacky meals all during the evening until later on at night, and then when I actually returned to my tent to settle for the night, I got the hunger pangs, because I think the fresh cold air sort of makes you hungry when you're outside. So I got the munchies and made So I buttered up a brioche bread roll and filled it with some mackerel fillets, Moroccan style, in tomato sauce, and had that. But talking of food, I've got some egg, bacon and sausage bread wraps to make over there, so I'm going to get some breakfast on the go in a moment once I've tidied up my floor space and put my sleep kit over in the corner of the tent. So I've just undone the valve of the inflatable sleep mat so it can sort of decompress, so it's easy to fold up into three. Put that in the corner safely out of the way because I don't want that getting pierced or damaged and not being fit for purpose. And then putting the sleeping bag on top. Inflatable pillow, that's all safely out of the way, but I can still keep this surface here. Keep it in situ so it's comfortable and thermal clad against the cold ground. But before I get the ball on the roll, I'm going to have a quick freshen up with some wet wipes, and then before I start handling food, in case my hands are a bit grubby, I've got some antiseptic wipes there, what I actually use specifically for my hands. Little container of butter, main container with assortment of different food things, coffee, there's the bread wraps, and got some condensed milk, so it's a nice sort of rich flavour for the coffee. But here I actually froze some bacon and sausages so that by the time I was going to use them they'd still be nice and cool and fresh. So that's today's breakfast, that's tomorrow's breakfast, and there's a nice seasoned burger to go into my second brioche roll for any time over the weekend. This is actually pure ground coffee, and it's a mixture of a Colombian coffee and a specialist coffee which has got roasted ground hazelnuts in it as well, and these are the two packs it came from. So the things that are going to take the longest, you put them on first. I can get the kettle on the go, start frying the sausage and the bacon and eggs, but prior to that I'm going to butter the wrap, so that's all ready, so by the time it's cooked I'm not then leaving the stuff in the frying pan. So I'll butter the bread wrap first so it's ready, put that aside, start to get the brew on and then start cooking. Yummy's on its way. Sugar and tea bags if I want a different type of brew compared to the coffee, and a few other little sundries in here as well, chocolate custard, onion to go with a burger, orange juice. In here is homemade lamb stew that I froze, and it only sort of defrosted by this morning really, Saturday morning. But of course the temperature I think is going to be cool enough that if I don't consume it, I can still take it home and put it in the fridge and then eat it at a later date. because there's a chance I might not consume the lamb stew, because included with the booking fee of being here over the weekend is roast beef that we're all going to be having later on this evening. So but unless I get late night munchies, then I think I'll be able to save the lamb stew for domestic time. But enough of my waffling on, let's use my mouth for something else. Getting some breakfast down my throat. So you can see I just swapped around the position of the sausages, moved them over away from the main heat where the bacon is, and then just bringing the bacon virtually on top of the flame, so then these sausages don't overcook but they stay warm. Yummy. Coffee and roast hazelnut aroma. That's absolutely brilliant. What a way to start the day. Now move the bacon away from the heat with the sausages, and you can see now the egg is directly over the flame. So it's just that that's cooking. So here we are at the Broadstone Fisheries site for the Camp Shaky event, and yeah, it's quite a big site, so with different vehicles, bug out, outdoor activity enthusiasts, preppers, survivalists, 4x4 drivers. But anyway, here's my setup of the pitch. You can see it's the Summit Goby 3. First time I used this was at Church Farm, Ardley in Stevenage, where we've done the sort of 3 meets over the past sort of year and a half, and I used it for the first time in really bad weather, rain, over 2 nights, and it really held itself really well. And you can see I've got the actual tarp to give me a bit more porch and vestibule space. The tarp give me a little bit more admin space underneath. The front door of the tent zips either side and obviously closes here, but I've got it rolled up. But last time I used it, I extended it out. So if you imagine my hand was the door as a little canopy shelter, but I thought, well, for the weekend I'll give myself a little bit more space, no chance of any water ingress if the wind blows the rain. So it's got the alignment to the centre. But what I didn't want to do, there was a specific method to the way that I actually fixed the tarp with the cordage and the bungees. If I'd have actually brought this down and fastened it near the tent, it would have actually compressed down on the framework. So not just on the centre line of the ridge, but also on the side fixings, that corner going down here, the centre one from the actual ridge of the way the tarp's made, coming down wide here, and then also wide here. So just to get the technical architectural structure, so to speak, fixing is there, fixing is there, and fixing is there. Now if I'd have brought it in closer, so the tarp had actually wrapped round it and the fixings had been closer to the bottom edge of the tent, again it would have created a compacting effect down onto the frame and into the sides, which of course I didn't want. So if anything, the only sort of resting pressure is on the top of the hub of the centre where it all locks in. So once that pulls up, brings the flash frame, as it's known for the Slummet tent, into position. So it's all then structured. So yeah, job done and sorted. Multi-section pole here so I could actually decide what height I wanted to have it, because this is much higher. I've even got more sections I could go up even higher if I wanted to, and had it coming up at an angle, but I thought no, that's going to bellows and it'll be a bit of a wind trap, so I thought I'd have it horizontal, but this being higher than one of the telescopic poles that I brought with me. Right, so we've got the Forest of Dean over there, sort of northbound, and then behind me, on a clear day, if you can see right over the top there, you can actually see the Black Mountains somewhere right over there. So I'm just going to sort of pray say and improvise when I can, highlights of the rest of this event of the weekend, and going to do walkabout now and see a few people actually in the daylight. And hopefully that rain will hold off, because it has done so far. Okay, so I'm a bit more togged up now. I decided I'm not going to put my parka liner on, I'll just put my body warmer, sleeveless body warmer over what I was already wearing, my fleece. And then my waterproof jacket, just in case there's a little bit of precipitation. And then just my utility belt with camera pouch, monochrome torch, and a drop pouch which I can unfold and put stuff in if I need to. And then just the other side, I've got my utility, what I call my EDC, strap, fire steel, torch, tin opener, whistle. Put that in the pocket of my fleece, and then waterproof trousers. Anyway, ready to go and walk about.
Again.
So it's £20 for the weekend, and that includes a raffle which is now being drawn, and beef roast dinner in a little while.
Do you open the 16? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There he is, there.
Okay, so it's just gone 8:30 in the evening. The wind's still blowing. You see in the previous images there was a bit of a communal spirit in the communal gazebo tent. Now we're going to come over to where there's some brew going on and see what's going on socialising over here.
Well, we might turn down. What's it? 6 o'clock. Say that though. I'm not carrying him. That's just straight cooking out.
Like I said, I've lost 2.5 stone, so
Okay, my first experience
you're going to do what you want to do.
with the wild boar burger, you can just see there in the light. which was actually hunted fresh from Forest of Dean. No contaminants, purely natural substance, and it's a totally unusual experience. I've never tasted anything like it, and I'll tell you what, it's yummy with an exclamation mark. And I've got my Camp Shaky mug. And a very accommodating part of the team, and Mr. Matto, yes, Mr. Matto 4x4, tiny. Right. Got that. Oh yes, it is, yeah. Oh, thank you. Cheers. Okay, so that was a little bit of a raucous bit of fun in the communal area on Camp Shaky. And I'm just going to go over to another group of guys before I settle for the night. It's 11:30, so I'm going to stay up for about another half an hour and then crash out for the night in the tent. So anyway, one last little social visit as I walk on by.
Put that massive chunk on top. Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Furnace. Okay, it's 11 o'clock Sunday morning. As you can see, I've packed my tent away and my setup. Had some breakfast, same as yesterday. A few people have come around and said their farewells. Catching up, new people I've met for the first time that follow my YouTube channel and said they've been inspired to get a canoe. But watch this space, because designing my own inflatable canoe, which is going to be heavy duty, lightweight, multi-purpose. Prep survivalists can use it, fishermen can use it, or can be used for a leisurely pursuit. But I've been getting feedback. Some people have actually been following it on social networks, especially Facebook, that I've been uploading a few pictures as to the structure of the canoe and the design and the colour and that sort of thing. A few people have been following it and have asking me questions about it, so I've been chewing the cud about that. So a lot of people have shown interest as far as maybe, you know, assessing the canoe when I'm going to review it at the beginning of the year. It's going into manufacture before the end of 2015, and I should have it ready to give it a field test by about the end of January, the beginning of next year. But I'll give you more posts about that at another date. So before I finish off for the day, I'm going to go in the farm shop and get some of their wild boar burgers, which are hunted way up over there, that live in a natural habitat, eat naturally and what have you. So I'm going to go and get some of those to take them home, because it was an experience actually eating them last night. Absolutely fantastic. I've got half a dozen of the wild boar seasoned burgers and some venison steaks, and again, all from that natural habitat up there. Result, bring it on. So I'm going to say a few more farewells to some of the guys that are still straggling on here, and then I'll make way back to my abode, my home. And you know, the weather's cleared a bit drizzly rain earlier, but although the wind kicked in, an absolute blusterer last night. A few people lost their shelters. I had to take the tarp off of my top of my tent, which I was using as a vestibule porch, because that was rattling about and could have disconnected some of the frame from the pressure of it actually rattling around, so I did actually move that. But anyway, I'm going to go and check out a few of the lads. Some of them just over there. Okay, so the Camp Shaky boys, just over there with their trailers and 4x4s, have just packed up from organising the event. So I'm going to make my tracks now. I'm one of the last people to leave. It's now just gone 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So it's been a good weekend at the Camp Shaky meetup for the sort of pre-Christmas do. A lot of socialising with different groups of people, the Essex boys, GPS boys, the little group that I call the Church Farm Mob. It was really good to tally up with people and new people that I've met for the first time, YouTube channel followers, people. Actually, a couple of people said they've actually got themselves a canoe, and so we've been sort of comparing ideas as to where you can go canoeing for wild camping, all that sort of thing. Comparing ideas, suggesting ideas, you know, kit to take when you're going canoeing and all that sort of thing. But as I said a little bit earlier, the Maverick Explorer, which will be put into production very soon, and I'm hoping to get it on the market for canoeing enthusiasts, for multi-use, from fishing to prep survival, if you want to have it for backup, wild camping, leisurely canoeing, up to level 3 and 4 rapids, all that sort of thing. But I'll keep you updated with that very soon. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate your interest, and catch you in another video soon. Cheers, take care.